Um, so I'm going to come back to Colonel Wright, and I think I'm going to ask this in a way where I'm just asking if you can send a response to the committee, because I don't think you'll have all of this at the tip of your fingers. So could you send the committee information on the current training and requirements that are in place to ensure military doctors are up to date in how to take care of all common women's health issues that could take place on deployment operational settings? For example, what training do they get on menstruation suppression, dysfunctional uterine bleeding management, sexual assault documentation and management, IUD complications, breast cyst management, menopause management, counseling around military specific occupational and environmentally reproductive hazards? Could you look into that and get back to the committee?
Certainly, although I would just like to make a comment there is that
Yeah.
our providers are trained in the civilian system to the same standards as Canadian clinicians, the same ongoing continuing medical education requirements, et cetera. And we are working on now on, additional education products for our providers to refresh their memories if it's been a while since they've done those kind of things. But yes, certainly we can give you a
Thank
more
you.
fulsome answer.
And I think the challenge that I'm having is that I hear what you're saying, but what I'm hearing from women veterans is that when they have these things happen and then they go to VAC is saying they don't have information from CAF to validate their experience. So what I'm trying to figure out is, where is the breakdown in communication? So my next question also goes to you. This one I'm asking for an actual response. Um, I'm just curious, data collection is something that we've heard a lot of concerns about. So I'm wondering if the CAF is keeping records of infertility rates, pregnancy loss rates, any kind of anomaly rates of offspring. I'm just trying to figure that out because it seems to me that there's not as much documentation. And after 30 years, we should be able to figure out some sort of semi-balance of medical illnesses and injuries that happen to women specifically in this area. So I'm just wondering, is that being tracked at all? And I understand I heard Captain Beck talk about this small component of women that are serving. And so it's hard to study. But if we can't ignore this because we're hearing too many stories on the other side. So I'm just trying to figure out, what are we tracking and how is it being useful to make sure that women get this healthcare they need while they're serving, and then on the other side when they're veterans?
That is exactly the kind of work that we want to spend more time focusing on in the future. We do have the data. We are the care provider for these folks, and so we have their medical records. And if they are seeing a specialist outside the CAF, of course, the records come from those specialist providers back to us. And so we have an electronic health record which has the kind of information that you mentioned in it. Pulling it out to do the kind of analysis you mentioned, though, is time consuming, but it is exactly the kind of research that we are planning on doing or augmenting what has been done. We're hiring more epidemiologists to work specifically in women's health, and an epidemiologist is the kind of person that would do things like draw that information out of the health record and then start looking at the population-wide patterns